I'd like to now make one last additional drawing for our shaft bearing assembly, and that will be an IDW file. And that will allow us to place our front, right side, and top view of our two parts of the shaft bearing into a title block, and then label it and dimension it so it then can be used as a finished blueprint. So the first thing we want to do is go up to the new file, and we want to select not the first column, the second, but the third, and we're looking for a file type called standard.idw. So double click, and we're ready to begin. First thing we want to do, if you look at your sample drawing, is we want to make it look like the following drawing. So I'm going to go up to base, and I'm going to the little magnifying glass inside of a yellow file. It's an existing file. And remember, keep all the files closed. We will go find them in this way. So I'm going to be looking now for our part 1. And it's going to look like this. And that is actually the scale we want to use. Now I do want to turn it, so before I place it, I'm going to rotate it in this fashion. And the scale for this will be 1 to 2. 1/2. So then I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to drop my right side view. I'm going to go up above and drop my top view. And once the three are there, I'm going to come over and I'm going to place my isometric view right here, and then right click OK. So now those three parts are made the way we want them, and they're in hidden, as you can see, with the wire frame on. Now I'd like to bring in, that is the part 1. I want to bring in part 2, so I'll go up to my base, go to the yellow file, and now I'm looking for my second part, part number 2. And there it is. Double click. Now I would like to bring it in the following way. So I'm going to rotate it as shown, and then put in my right side view, then my top, and then my isometric. Let's try that one more time. So we're changing its view, then coming over, placing the top, right side, and then our ISO, and then right click, pick OK. And now we have them placed approximately. Now we can move them. As you can see, they're all attached. Now my next step is to bring in my assembled with the bolts already attached. So I go up to place, and I'm looking for the assembled. With hex bolts. And there it is. So we'll double click, and we want to place it in this fashion by clicking on the corner of the cube, then right click, pick OK. Now what we'd like to do is bump these up in scale also. I would like to make them as large as possible so the person that's making the part, or the fabricator, can see what it's going to look like fully assembled. So I'm going to right click on the red edit box, and I'm going to bump the scale up 1 to 1. And then right click, pick OK, and we'll move it down. And we'll do the same with the base. So we'll edit that, change it to 1 to 1, and move it so it's not taking up too much space, but it's in a position where we can actually pick OK. And now we also want to make that hidden and shaded. And also the part 1, edit, hidden and shaded. Okay, now we can proceed to line up our parts, and we can then start our annotation, which is going to be our dimensioning. And we also want to put in at this point our center lines. So under annotate, remember when we're doing centers, we're using the center mark and selecting the largest circle that represents that particular circle. And we have several of those, so it is safe to pick the radiuses if you like. Don't forget the hidden line circles as well. And then we have one down here. Okay, and then we're going to put in what we call now our bisector lines, center bisectors. And you just pick a hidden line on the right and a hidden line that balances on the left, and it gives you that center line that's going through the piece. Here we have side views of a cylinder, once again bisector, and on the other side. And we also have that occurring here, and also don't forget up above. And that takes care of several of these. There you can see we have to put one through that direction. And we have several down here as well. And at this point, the students can take over and finish with their dimensioning and adding their text. And make sure you file the drawing sample as a rubric for this.